I'm lost for words. This is Steve Sanson, Veterans in Politics with Jim Jonas. Jim, how's everybody doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Sorry I missed last week's show. Had to help a friend move, and that was
help somebody move, huh?
Yeah.
Last week was a good show. I had how many people were here? I remember 7.
Yeah.
2 hours. Yeah, we were just rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Sorry I missed that. It just I had promised that I would help her move, and I did. So.
Oh, it was a her, huh?
Yeah.
You couldn't say no.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know me, Steve. I can't.
Yeah.
Can't say no.
You can't say no to women?
No.
Your weak point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay. Well, the Veterans of Politics Solution Focus show that's on Friday on 12:30 a.m. with the Wiley Network. This Friday is going to be our last Friday coming, and we're going to be moving till Tuesday now.
So why are you moving till Tuesday?
I guess it's a better spot. I don't
Okay.
know. I think that it was too much for me, Friday show and then Saturday show, and then, they see me all the time. It's just too much.
Too much for you, Steve?
Yeah.
I didn't think there was such thing.
But you really missed a good show last week.
Yeah.
But anyways, we have 3 fabulous guests today. We have Russell Best, who's the Independent American Party candidate. He's running for U.S. Representative in Congress for District Number 2. Up north, and then we have Joanna Keshner, candidate. I hope I pronounced her last name right. I'm always messing up last name.
Yeah.
All right. Joanna Keshner, candidate for Clark County District Court Judge Department 31. Well, we just knocking out these judicial candidates, aren't we?
Yeah.
Going right through them. I like that. We need to know who these judicial candidates are.
Yeah.
I think judicial candidates are one of the most important elected officials you should know.
And I do too. And I think a lot of people don't understand why it is so important. That's why Veterans in Politics on the show specifically, we make sure that we interview
because they affect your life immediately.
Yeah, because
immediately, you know.
Yeah.
30 days in jail, Mr. Sanson. What?
Unfortunately, whether you like it or not, you are going to be in front of a judge one day, so you need to know who they are.
Yeah, whether it's a DUI or civil, criminal, or you're suing somebody, small claims, some family, anything come up. And then we have Lori P. Bish, candidate for Clark County Sheriff and a Metropolitan Police Officer.
Yeah, very excited to have Lori here in studio.
I'm a little bit scared.
Questions.
She's a Metropolitan Police Officer. I've been reading about them a lot nowadays,
So why are you scared?
I don't know. They just terrify me. I don't know. Those police officers nowadays. Boy. Did you worry about the loss? Speaking of police officers, in today's paper, the deputy Las Vegas constable was arrested Thursday for some kind of sexual molestation, who used to be a Metropolitan Police Officer, by the way. That was one of my rants I wanted to bring up.
Well, go ahead and bring it up then.
I'm bringing it up now. You believe that?
Yeah. No, it's just kind of like maybe you should bring up the fact that what 3 people can actually arrest the sheriff in the state of Nevada?
Well, I was told it was the coroner, the district attorney, and the attorney general. But according to Assemblyman Mark Menendo, he looked it up. He says that no. So I don't know.
So they can't, or
I don't know.
There's more than 3.
I'm just.
We'll have to ask Mark next time we get him back on there.
Yeah, he probably. By the time he's probably a state senator by that time, though.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We endorsed him, so hopefully.
And another thing, you know what upsets me is we have a debate tomorrow with the 2 gubernatorial candidates, Brian Sandoval and Roy Reid, the Democrat and Republican. You know what upsets me?
What's that?
Where's the Green Party candidate? Where's the Libertarian candidate? Where's the Independent American candidate? Where's the Independent candidate? Gino DeSimone and Art, what's his name? Help me out with that.
I don't even know.
Lampart, I think his name is.
Well, and that's the problem. Why were they not invited?
And Floyd Fitzgibbons, no, they weren't invited.
Oh.
That upsets me. If we have all these other political parties out there that are running for the same office, we need to have everybody lined up so they all could debate.
So we need to have more shows like this one that actually have independent American Party candidates, lower party candidates.
That's right. Matter of fact, we also endorsed 2 IAPs and a libertarian. A libertarian this last election cycle.
Because I mean, the rant that I was going to talk about is, Obama with his hope and change stuff. He really hasn't changed much. It's still the same stuff over and over and over again.
Jim, every time you come in here, you talk about Obama. Irma.
Well, and I'm not beating up on the guy. Honestly, I mean, I hope he changes things, but he hasn't done what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, well, you know, that's politicians for you.
Yeah. Well, it's like, okay, so I seem to bash Obama a lot. Let me bash Bush.
Don't bash Bush. I like Bush.
Well, no, I mean I like him for the most part, but
don't talk bad about him.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll just stop talking.
I'm messing with you, Jim.
But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he said he was a uniter, not a divider,
right? And
everything was still divided.
No.
So I mean, where are these guys going?
But you know, one thing you say about the former president George Bush, he's not putting his nose in anything. He's not
you notice
commenting about nothing.
Like he's retired, right?
Yeah,
he just keeps.
I guess he doesn't want to second guess the president, so he just figured to stay out.
So he's actually showing respect for the president.
Yeah. Not like Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Dick Cheney. Yeah. He's a new one.
Well, we don't want to take up too much time. People didn't listen to hear us rant.
Yeah.
Or did they?
Well, I don't know, but I want to get to our guest. Well,
let's go to Russell Best, the Independent American Party candidate for U.S. Representative for District Number 2. Russell, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Russell, could you give us a bio and tell us exactly where you're calling from?
Where am I calling from? I'm calling from, right now, Stagecoach, Nevada.
Stagecoach, Nevada. What's the population over there, Russell?
Do we count rabbits and mice or just the people?
I was thinking more of the human sense.
Yeah, I think we got about 270 people living out here.
Wow.
Out here where the wild horses are, and it's really kind of quiet and nice.
All right. Russell, could you give us a bio?
A bio. Well, you want to know a little bit about me?
Sure.
I would say I was born in Texas. My dad was an Australian immigrant. As a young boy, I also was in the Sea Scouts, became quartermaster, was also in Army ROTC, graduated, and then I got in the Navy Reserve, and I went into the Navy later, went to storekeeper school, then I went into financial management, and after I got hurt in the service, I was discharged, and so I went back to college, and I also went to work for Gulf Oil, and later Taco Bell, Merritt Mortgage, and basically I went into business for myself as an independent small businessman, and then I became a mortgage person. I've worked for a couple of banks. I worked for small independents. I've been a broker. I've been in real estate. And then I became an unpaid lobbyist for the state of Nevada, or not for the state, but in the state of Nevada. I fought for keeping our banking laws intact, which we won for a while, and real estate. I did not like the unlawful ethical practices of the large corporations as an independent businessman, and these are some of the reasons why I decided to run for Congress.
So why exactly are you running for Congress against the incumbent? Is he not doing a good job, Russell?
Pardon me?
Is the incumbent not doing a good job?
He's tries to run pro and con. He's definitely not a conservative. He likes to spend money. He likes to vote for spending money. That's one of my problems with him.
Well, could you give us an example of that?
Yeah, I mean, Russell, he didn't, as far as I know, he did not vote for the stimulus package. So how is he voting for more money?
He's voted for a lot of different things. And my funniest thing...
Okay, Russ, we like to know, when you say a lot of different things, we like specifics. Okay. Exactly what are you talking about?
For example, he voted for... let's see. A perfect example was the what do you call them? The sea lions. He voted for spending money for sea lions. How many sea lions do we have in Nevada? Or the Sea Otter Recovery Act. He's voted for...
Well, was that an earmark to get something else passed?
Pardon? That was one of his earmarks, yes. He also was proving more money for the Department of Interior, which I think we need to get our state back and take our property back instead of leaving it to the federal government.
Well, Russell, how do you propose to do that? I mean, I understand where you're going on this. It just seems like you're being a little general. So what specific ideas do you have to for instance, earmarks. I mean, all congressmen, all senators, whether we like it or not, they all do it. They vote for these earmarks. How could you change that?
Well, that's where we have to start. We have to start by stop the spending. In other words, no more taxes, no more new bills. You just have to learn how to say no. And if we don't stop the runaway spending, we need to repeal some of the federal laws that are unconstitutional by our senators and our congressmen. We need to put the senators and congressmen on notice.
So what bills what bills has Dean Heller voted on that you consider unconstitutional?
Let's see if I can find any right now. Okay, he voted. Well, what does the Endangered Recovery Fishery Program have to do with the Constitution?
That's actually a part of the Department of Interior that you want to get rid of, and I can't say I completely disagree with you on that, but I'm just saying that. Can you just give us some examples of just be general. You don't have to be super specific.
Well, you started asking for specifics, so I can try to get specific. Let's see. He voted against the balanced budget in 2008, in which he's now saying he's for a balanced budget. The credit card bill he voted for and got $190,000 in money for that. There's the Public Lands Act. He voted for the solar technology, right along with our buddy, the Democrat. He's voted for, as I said,
what buddy is that? What buddy Democrat is that?
Senator Reid.
Okay.
He voted with Senator Reid on that. He doesn't always vote party politics, but and some of his things he votes for to spend money, it doesn't get approved, thank God. But
Russell, is it fair to say that when you're an elected official, you're representing all people, you're not representing a political platform?
Well, I think when we're trying to deal with the public and we're trying to protect our people in the state of Nevada, I think we have to look bigger than that. We have to look at all the spending that's going on in the country and say no. He doesn't say no. He just keeps on spending. That's one of my biggest complaints on him, is he doesn't know how to say no.
So you're saying that every spending bill that came before Congressman Dean Heller, he voted a yay instead of a nay. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he votes a lot of times against his party when it comes to spending, yes, but not all the time.
Okay.
You can't say he did, because he does vote for a lot of things that, he did vote. Let's see, he voted to prohibit the low-level radiation waste in the United States, which that was pretty good. I mean, so not everything he does is bad. Okay. But you see, he voted for the appropriations for Homeland Security, and these are different things that the Republicans voted no on. And see, I'm not trying to go down. See, I believe instead of doing what the party is, because see, we'll get back to the rhino syndrome, which we've had. He's been in the party too long. He started in the 90s, and he's gone from the state to the federal now. He's had 2 terms in the Congress. When is term limits going to come into play? Don't you think we all should have term limits?
Well, I believe we all should have term limits for
I
every.
believe in 2 term limits.
But unfortunately for the U.S. Congress and U.S. Senate, there is no term limits in play.
That's part of the problem.
Well, isn't that written in the Constitution somewhere, saying that there's no term limits for those 2 particular elected seats? Wouldn't you have to change the Constitution to put the term limits in?
I believe that we would, and I believe that we should.
Russell, let me ask you something. I can't find anything on you. According to a lot of search engines, you don't exist. How are people going to know to vote for you? I mean, who are you?
Well, they can come to my website, www.russellbest.com, and that will give you some information. I believe you can go to Google and Google me. I'm also on Facebook. I'm in a lot of different places on, the only way I get well known is by getting out to the public and, they've tried to make it a little complicated by not donating to the Republicans tell everybody not to donate to independent campaigns, which makes it a little bit harder to get out there.
Have you come to Clark County? I mean, you do have a little bit of District 2 in Clark County, correct?
Yes, we do. We have everything but Las Vegas, and I believe we got part of Vegas.
How many voters do you have down here?
Down where?
In Clark County.
I don't know. Probably about a bunch. I would love to get to Clark County, and I'm hoping to.
A bunch, Russell? You don't know specifics? Are you targeting voters?
Pardon?
Are you targeting voters?
Am I targeting voters? To the best of my ability, I am.
And how are you doing that?
I have basically what I've got is by talking to different people from different radio stations and being online, by also the I hope to have this ad going that will be going to all the different homes to say a little bit about me. That's going to be on the phone. We're doing different things. We're going to be in several parades over the next 2 months. I've been going to meet and greets out here.
Have you been going to door to door?
No, I cannot go door to door because I am disabled. I don't know if you're aware of that. I have, if I go walking, my legs get like rubber and I couldn't walk. Yeah. So I cannot do that.
No, I didn't know that. Is that on your site? Because I'm looking at your site right now.
I don't try to brag about being disabled. So let me go look. I don't even know myself. But I try not to put that in there. But I was hurt in the service. I am disabled. I cannot walk for long distances. But that's not a reason to vote for a person. You
right. How much disability are you? How much disability are you getting from the VA?
The VA, I believe, I get 60%.
Okay.
So
I've got 20%. If that's what their new math.
So Russell, do you think that you're getting a fair amount from the VA? And to be specific, since you are disabled, I mean, that is an area that you could really help in, to help disabled veterans. So, I mean, what are you doing? Do you think that 60% is fair? I mean, are you working with the VA?
Do I think it's fair? Not really. It's their new math system is why.
So what are you doing? You're running for Congress, and that is not a small task. So
that's right.
if you're going to run for Congress, then what are you doing to help disabled veterans? Because that would be I mean, unfortunately, you might not win running for Congress, but you can still help disabled veterans.
Well, overall, we have to unite the veterans together. That's part of what I'm trying to do.
And how are you trying to accomplish that?
I've talked to some different people. When I go to the VA, we talk. I pass out my flyers to them. I've convinced a few people, and they claim they're going to vote for us, and they're going to try to help us get in there. And once we get in, hopefully we'll be able to work on the VA system.
Russell, I got to ask you a question. Have you done anything in trying to help out the veterans in any capacity besides your campaign? Have you done anything to try to help out the veterans? Have you been on any of the VSOs and the veteran service organizations? Have you been on any of the boards?
No,
nothing.
I don't think so.
Okay.
What I do is when I was able to hire, we tried to hire vets first, and I tried to hire disabled vets if they could do the job.
So what I'm getting is you're starting to go to these VSOs when you filed for Congress, basically.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I've been doing it for years. But
well, you just said no.
Well, not to VSOs, but I've been hiring people from veterans that I know and stuff that I've met because they need help. We just try to help each other.
Okay. What have you hired them to do, Russell?
Whatever they were able to do. Sometimes it was as little as I don't know. They were carpenters, and they could be a carpenter. They did work on a roof or work on putting a door in or whatever it happened to be.
Okay. So let me ask you something. Be quite honest with me. What do you think your chances are running against Congressman Dean Heller?
I really don't know. I would think they're better than average just for the simple fact I think people have had enough of progressives in Congress and people that are making life Congress and the Senate and the rest of it. They don't want to go home.
Well,
I think they need to go under the laws and the rules they create. They need to go back and live with them.
Well, I for one don't believe deep pockets and influence should make somebody win. I believe that the spirit of the person that goes out and campaign and the heart of the person to actually want that particular elected seat for the betterment of the people. That's what I think. But I also think that when people go out and try to get themselves elected, that they should be a part of the community prior to them trying to get themselves elected, not all of a sudden be involved in the community because they want to become elected.
Oh, I'm part of the community out here anyways. I used to, as I said, back prior to around 2000 and before, I also was a lobbyist, unpaid lobbyist, and I go in there. Back in the 80s.
There's a lot of people scared of lobbyists.
Well, I said unpaid, not paid. There's a difference.
Okay.
In other words, I took no money. I did it to try to protect us from, they were trying to bring in California laws, and I got ticked off about it, so I came in and I helped fight it. Just like with this thing they were trying to bring in this year, I was there too for that, when they're trying to do our driver's license stuff, and I got to postpone until next year, but they'll bring it back again. We got to stop it now.
What's your population in CD2?
Pardon?
What's the population for CD2?
If I had to guess, I'd say about 750,000 people.
Well, Russell, to be blunt, you shouldn't have to guess. You should have already known that before you started to run. You're speaking to two people that have run for office before, and we already knew our demographics in our area before we even ran. So I think that's basically what we're trying to get to is if I had to guess, well, if you have to guess, you might be, to be honest with you, it might be wasting your time.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I think you're wrong.
Do you know
my opinion.
Do you know the boundaries for CD2?
Do I have them in front of me? No, I don't. I do have a copy of them floating around somewhere. If you saw my office, you'd understand why I have to go from one spot to the other.
Right. Okay. All right, Russell. Could you give us a bio? I mean, sorry, Russell. I'm all confused now. Could you give us your point of contact, please? And could you tell us why that the people of CD2 should go and vote for you?
Sure, because we need to restore our Constitution, and we're not going to do that unless we get started. We need to restore states' rights. We need to stop the spending. We need to repeal all the laws that are unconstitutional. We need to get rid of the National Emergency Act. We need to get our illegals to go back to their country and then come back legally. We need to make our tax system less taxes. My suggestion would be get rid of the IRS and replace it with a 15% flat tax.
I'm sure that you have a plan for all the stuff that you're talking about, correct?
Right. And you got to get rid of 350 programs that have been duplicated, and they got billions. We need to stop the bailouts. We need to get rid of the union concessions or the exemptions, and we got to go fix Fannie and Freddie because they're going down the toilet and they haven't stopped. We need to get rid of NAFTA, CAFTA, and the World Bank. These are just a few of the things we need to do to get jobs back into this country, and we need it now. We don't need it 6 months from now. We don't need it 2 years from now because we won't have a country.
Okay.
And that's why I'm running for Congress.
So is the IAP donating to your campaign?
No, they don't. We don't. We do our own donations, and if they have, what we do is they'll have something that we participate in, and that's where we get those funds from.
Okay.
Like, I think this weekend I'm going to Elko, and they're having a thing at the fair from 1 to 4, and I'll be stopping by there and passing out flyers, talking to people, just like I did at the Rendezvous in Carson.
Okay, Russell.
I've done different things.
Russell, we're running out of time. Could you give us a point of contact, please?
Well, all I'm trying to say is
your point of contact, Russell.
Point of context. What I'm trying to get across is I'm an independent American that believes in small business, small government, and states' rights.
Russell, you've been in the service. You don't know what a POC is?
Hey, I was in the service 40 years ago, 30-something years ago now.
But that's a point. A POC is what we use in business as well. Point of contact. Could you give us your website, your phone number?
My website, again, is www.russellbest.com.
All right. Well, thank you, Russell. Thank you for being on the show. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jones for Veterans in Politics. That was Russell Best, the IAP candidate running for Congressional District 2. Don't go away, folks. We'll be back with Joanna Kishner, candidate for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 31.
Hello, my name is Steve Sampson. I'm the president of Veterans in Politics International. This country and state are in trouble with budget cuts, unemployment, foreclosures, teacher shortage, dropout rates, terrorism, and a loss of military service members. The outcome of this election will profoundly affect families, both military and non-military. Military men and women are dying for other countries to have the right to vote. As a former member of the United States Marine Corps and the Army, I know how important it is to keep the voters informed. Log on to the website veteransinpolitics.com. All Americans of voting age need to not only vote, but research your choices. The Veterans in Politics organization has taken a proactive approach to supporting candidates who will have the courage to protect all of our freedoms and our Constitution. Visit our website at veteransinpolitics.com. Don't just talk about who you support. Research your choices and vote.
Hi, this is Chuck Ann Baker, the editor of the Veterans Reporter newspaper, the only newspaper in Nevada for veterans and their families. Pick up your free copies at most VA offices, most libraries, at the American Legion, the VFW, the DAV, and hundreds of other locations. We also produce the Veterans Reporter radio show every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m., KLAV Radio, AM 1230, and we stream it live, www.klav1230am.com. This is Chuck Ann Baker for the Veterans Reporter newspaper.
Hi, I'm Travis Barrick, the Republican nominee for Attorney General, and I approve this message. Brian Krolicki received over 122,000 votes in the June primary, more than anybody else on the ballot. The lawsuit against him by Ms. Masta was a political witch hunt where she wasted thousands of your dollars. She has disgraced the office of Attorney General by being a partisan hack of Harry Reid, and their socialist agenda is too radical for Nevada. You have the right to expect better of your Attorney General, and I have the integrity to deliver on that expectation. Go to travisberrick.com to learn more about me and my campaign.
We're back. This is Steve Sampson and Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. Jim, that the last guest, I don't know. I don't know about him, Jim.
Yeah, I don't really know either. And
he didn't know his demographics. He didn't know what a POC is. Come on now. You going to run for Congress?
Yeah, I don't know. And I kind of felt bad.
You know you're supposed to be on American Airlines? Oh, I thought it was Southwest. But anyways, we have Joanna Kishner right here in studio. She's the candidate for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 31. You know, we didn't endorse that seat.
Why not?
I guess it was real hard for those guys because I don't.
You don't vote.
I don't
right.
vote.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a bunch of lawyers sitting on the judicial seats. I mean, the judicial interview panel, and they stayed out of 31.
Good afternoon, Steve and Jim, and I appreciate the fact they stayed out of 31, although I would have loved your endorsement. I think we've got some real good candidates in the department, and I'll be glad to answer any questions or discuss anything you wish to do so.
Well, let's first start off with a bio, Joanna.
Sure. I was actually born and raised here in Southern Nevada, and for me that's an important part of one of the reasons why I'm running, because I think we need to make sure that we have a real sense of the entire community. I've been practicing law for over 20 years, and I do broad-based litigation, everything from complex class actions to smaller cases in a wide variety of laws. I'm licensed in 2 states, both California and Nevada. I've been a pro tem or substitute judge for about the last decade, justice of the peace, small claims, traffic court, and court-appointed arbitrator. I'm also very fortunate to be ranked in a variety of different publications that look at skills and abilities of attorneys, including Chambers, Best Lawyers, and Super Lawyers. I'm also very active in pro bono activities We do a lot of CAP work, with working with abused and neglected children, and a lot of other pro bono work throughout the country, helping those less fortunate.
So, Joanna, why are you running for judge? It just seems like it's a very hard seat to win because most people don't even pay attention to judge seats.
Okay. You've raised a question which a lot of people have actually raised, particularly in this election cycle, with having 7 new civil seats, one of which I'm running for, District Court Department 31. To answer your first question, why I'm running because this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I was fortunate, actually, my father's a non-practicing attorney. I grew up where there was always a strong sense of community and public service here in southern Nevada. Okay, and so for me, I knew I wanted to be a judge, but I wanted to make sure I had the skills and experience to get the job done. So that's why when people ask why now, because now I've practiced over 20 years, I have the 10 years of pro temming experience, and I have the breadth and depth to actually get the job done to be an efficient and effective judge. The second part, as far as people knowing about the judges, I think you're 100% correct. One of the things that I really have focused on, and people knocked on thousands of doors. I have personally gone door to door from a very grassroots effort to try and speak with people individually, because my viewpoint is both of you in studio, as well as each and every one of the listeners, is my potential employer. And when I want to hire someone, I want to be able to interview them.
So you running for judge, you've actually walked door to door?
I have walked thousands of doors, yes.
That's very interesting to me, because most judicial candidates that I interview or talk to say that they don't walk door to door just because it's a countywide race.
It is a countywide race, but I intend to represent the entire county. I've walked in rural areas. I've walked in each of the communities out here because I think it is very important. When people say they don't know a judicial candidate, you're 100% correct. I would say 95% of the people when I've walked door to door or have called personally say that I'm the first judicial candidate they've met in person, or the first one that has called them personally. And I don't think that's should be the answer. I think that each and every one of us should be out there, because if we are running a countywide race, we should be trying to speak with the electorate so that we can inform them about our skills and experience. And that's one of the things I would definitely want to do.
You know, I believe in judicial candidates are extremely important. I sometimes think that in some instance it's more important than the governor at times, because judicial candidates or judges, when they become judges, affect your life immediately. And I have the privilege to know every single district, muni, justice of the peace from family that are sitting in Clark County right now. And it was a pleasure to meet all of them and to know them. Some of them I've known personally. And one of the questions I like to ask is, what do you feel about specialty courts?
Okay. We're very fortunate right now. We have certain specialty courts. Many people may know about our drug court. In fact, it's actually truly 6 separate drug courts. It's generally handled by Judge Glass. And I think that that's a good opportunity for people to try and be rehabilitated. You've got certain individuals in different areas that can use the extra aspect. I mean, you have one is for mothers, one's for juveniles. It's very good. A question that was asked of us before was about the potential specialty court, veterans specialty court. And that's one that is to be coming down, the pike, and right now potentially slated for Judge Elliott when it happens, but we'll see what ends up happening. We have had specialty courts on the business court side as another specialty court, and for businesses that's been very effective, a higher fee structure, but you get, quote, quicker results, and you get some judges who are very knowledgeable in the business court area and for highly sophisticated cases. So I'm in favor of specialty courts because I think it allows a particular judge with a special expertise. I should have mentioned construction defect, obviously, is another very large specialty court, but allows judges with special expertise to handle cases on a routine basis, so you get some consistency in the court and you also get some expediency.
Yeah, Judge Elliott helped form that specialty court as far as Veterans Court is concerned, and I believe Speaker of the House, Barbara Buckley, is the one that put it on in the legislation, and it did pass. But I believe Judge Elliott stepped down from being in charge of Veterans Court and Drug Court as well. I believe Judge Glass is the one that's taken the role on that now. But Joanna, being a judge is a very stressful and time consuming job, and sometimes that takes a lot away from your family. And I look, you have a beautiful family on on the website. How do you plan to juggle that time?
Okay. Well, I should mention I am very fortunate. I'm very blessed. I have 2 wonderful children and a very supportive husband, and also my father lives here in the community. He came here about 50 years ago. I balance things. Currently. I am running the small Las Vegas office of DLA Piper, which is the world's largest firm. So it's an international firm. So I've been balancing my family with my career throughout my legal career for over 20 years. And I've been able to do it very successfully, particularly with my children. I think the idea of running for judge, this is my first time running because I'm not somebody who just is seeking any office. This, I think, is the right office at the right time for me to help our community and serve the entire community. But my children have really benefited. How many children can say, you have a daughter, I met her at the Joint Chambers lunch, but how many children can really say that while they're learning about social studies in the classroom and politics, that they have met about every single congressional candidate, they've met the state officers, and they met the local candidates. So there's certain events that they can participate in that they can have a very educational experience. I also make sure that, yesterday was meet the teachers for my daughter. I was there at Bonner Elementary. Day before was orientation for my son at Rogage, obviously there. You balance things. You have a lot of balls that are in the air, and you make sure that you take care of them. I think that's someone who's effective and has done this for a long time, and which I've done.
Well, Joanna, and it's weird, Steve. I'm like at a loss for words, and that doesn't normally happen to me. I'm just very impressed that you can balance all those things at one time. My main question to you is just, so when you become judge, how are you going to, because it's one thing to say that you can balance a lot of things, but when you become judge, I mean, you've been judge pro tem for a while.
Right. For about the last decade.
Right. So you already have the experience that you feel comfortable that you can step in on day one and just take over and do a good job.
Well, I think realistically there'll be a small learning curve. I mean, as much as I've attended the bench bar meetings and I've attended the all judges meeting to understand both the administrative side, I've been very fortunate to be selected to the various panels for the pro tem side. Yes, there still will be a learning curve when you're hit with about whatever the number of cases are to do that. But I think that the balance is there. I'm a very efficient administrator. I make sure, and I'm very fortunate to have people on both sides of cases I've litigated supporting me because they realize that there's a lot of cases that you can really narrow down to the essence of it and get things resolved. And if you want to be efficient and effective, I think that that's definitely a possibility. And for someone with my skills and experience, I definitely intend to take that and work 24/7 just like I do now.
So how are you more qualified for this job, besides all the stuff that you already just pointed out? Very impressed, by the way, than your opponent?
Well, I believe in positive professionalism, and I think we each signed before we ran for office a particular oath, and I will not say anything that's negative. That's not the way I think this is. Integrity is very important to me. I mean, I'm running for judge. Integrity, experience, respect, and hard work. Those are the foundations. I think my educational background, I went to Claremont undergrad, double major in political psychology, had a minor in business, magna cum laude, UCLA Law School, Federal Communications managing editor, worked for a federal judge, combining educational background, over 20-plus years of breadth and depth of experience, domestic and international cases, licensed in 2 states, plus my administrative abilities. I've both been in-house as well as been an outside litigator. Those combinations, I think, are a package, plus my dedication to this community where I was fortunate to be born and raised, where I'm raising my family, sets me apart so that I will be the best judge in District Court, Department 31.
Okay. Joanna, it was a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for taking the time.
And good luck with you in your race.
Thank you.
We wish you the best of luck. Could you give the listeners your point of contact?
Sure, definitely. My website is joannakishner.com. That's JOANNA, Kishner, KISHNER.com. You could also reach me. I will give everyone phone number is 702-677-3902, or my email, which is joannakishner at embark, we all know it's embark with a Q, mail.com, because I want people, please, interview me, speak with me, find out that I have the skills and experience to get the job done for our entire community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joanna. That's Joanna Kishner, candidate for Clark County District Court Judge, Department 31. This is Steve Sanson and Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. And don't go away, folks. We'll be back with Lori Bish, candidate for Clark County Sheriff. Listeners, get paper and pen ready to write the following phone number. D, we have met a couple times previously. What do you have for our listeners today?
Well, thank you, Steve. As you stated, we have met. I first met you at the Veterans Forum, February 20th. That's when Family Court Judge Bill Gonzalez stated Clark County courts are reporting a 1% error rate in administration of court documents. That's 10,000 errors for every million documents filed.
I remember that startling statistic. I can't imagine there are well over 1 million documents filed with the court.
That's true. Then I met you again in April on your show. On that show, Judge Candidate Vincent Ochoa stated the family law attorneys know documents are not getting to the judges. The result is family court judges are ordering children to their abusers because they do not have the child's abuse evidence.
What?
Let me state that again. Family court judges are ordering children to their abusers because the judges do not have the child abuse evidence.
That is significant.
Now fast forward to today. Clark County's significant number of abused children are with the party that has a history of abuse to that child.
Why is Clark County allowing that?
Well, testimony given by Clark County Staff Attorney Joseph Tomasino to Nevada Supreme Court Justice Hardesty answers why. Attorney Tomasino stated he has ordered child abuse evidence destroyed prior to child abuse hearings.
That's an alarming statement. Why would anyone order evidence of abuse destroyed prior to a hearing?
Joey Tomasino said because he doesn't have the storage space.
What can veterans do about this?
I'm glad you asked because this directly affects veterans. Clark County taxpayer dollars are going to pay for defense of Joey Tomasino and the Clark County courts. These tax dollars could be put to use benefiting the county's veterans. The veterans can contact me at 787-0002. That's 787-0002. I can instruct them how to go forward. Already, over 300 complaints have been filed. We are getting Clark County's attention, and with the help of veterans, we will make a difference, and the veterans will benefit.
What is that phone number?
787-0002.
Thanks, Dee.
Thank you, Steve.
I can't say we. I'm back, but I don't know where Jim Jonas went. This is Steve Sanson with Veterans in Politics, and here goes Jim Jonas. Well, right now we have live in studio is Lori Bish, candidate for Clark County Sheriff. Lori, how are you today, ma'am?
I am good. Thank you guys for having me on the show.
No problem. Lori, could you give us a bio about yourself?
Sure. I am a native Nevadan, born and raised in this great state.
2 in a row.
2 in a row. I've been a police officer with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department for over 17 years now. I've worked different assignments from patrol to field training to in-service training, and I'm currently working patrol on the beautiful Las Vegas Strip graveyard. I have been endorsed by the largest police organization in the country, the Fraternal Order of Police. I have the most coveted endorsement from the NRA and the Gun Owners of America, along with several labor unions, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the Sheet Metal Workers. And so I'm extremely honored to have those endorsements. I'm a mom. I'm a business owner. I have a great daughter who's going to school in South Bend, Indiana College, and a 13-year-old son who goes to school here in Vegas. And just out there fighting crime, keeping the city safe on a day-to-day basis.
So Lori, that explains why you're wearing a Fighting Irish shirt today.
Oh, go Irish.
I see that in 99, you were the Veteran Foreign Wars of Nevada Police Officer of the Year.
I certainly was. I was very honored to get that award, and it's meant a lot to me to have that.
So, Lori, I know last time you ran for sheriff, and that was wow. That was a very exciting year. There was a lot of folks in there that I know. That's when you and I first met,
Mm-hmm.
and you had that Jerry Arola came out of nowhere and put you in third place, and I know you must have been a little upset because of that, because I knew that you were really hungry and you could have got that first place. How was that race, and what did you learn from that race differ from this current one?
Well, I'll tell you, the race in 2006 was a much different style race because it was an open seat. The current sheriff at the time, Bill Young, had decided at the very last minute to pull out of the race and somewhat anointed his undersheriff, Doug Gillespie. And after that, we had 15 other candidates that had filed for for the race. I think it's one of the most candidates we've ever had filed for Clark County Sheriff. And it was my very first political campaign, and I certainly learned a lot. I was out there. I, met a lot of great people, walked a lot of neighborhoods, and, was right on the track for making it to the general election. And then comes along an outsider, helicopter business owner who spent a fortune, over $3.5 million, and basically knocked me out by...
Who's now bankrupt and moved to Texas?
That would be Jerry Areola.
Yeah, and I actually voted for that guy, by the way. I just thought I'd let you know.
Thanks.
That was a big mistake.
That was my
That was a big
Well, that was in
a mistake,
the
but-
primaries, though.
Yeah, but
and the general.
He
isn't it?
knocked,
Was it
he
primary
knocked
general?
me out of the general by
Yeah.
only about 3,000 votes.
Yeah. Well,
So, Lori, what makes you more? Why are you running against Doug Gillespie? Because it seems like everyone I talk to seems to just think he's going to win. And I'm not talking to insiders here. I mean, I'm talking to just general people. It's name recognition, basically.
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, that's about the only thing he has going for him is name recognition. But that's a tough hill to get over in an election when you're the incumbent. But I think also that our police department, since Gillespie has been the sheriff, has gone through and had a lot of controversy. I mean, we've had a lot of events that have certainly put us under the microscope, both internally and externally. And I think, within our department, there's a big cry for leadership. It's a leadership position that's really not being handled properly, and it's having a negative impact on our agency, which in turn has a negative impact on our community.
Well, let me tell you what I'm getting from folks, because they knew you were gonna be on, and you had 4 police officers dead in 1 year. You have I lost count of how many police-involved shootings there are. I'm not saying police officers should not protect themselves. I'm just saying that this is worse than New York now. The amount of police-involved shootings I'm hearing like one every other day now. I mean, it just was one yesterday. I mean, I can't get away from it. And I also learned that there was 2 calls of domestic violence to Sheriff Doug Gillespie's house. Do you know anything about that one?
Well, there's been rumors. I wasn't there, so I cannot confirm or deny those rumors due to the fact that I work the Strip and he lives out in the northwest part of town. But it certainly has been a question that's been brought up.
Well, Lori, I mean, just to get more on back to what Steve is getting at, in 2006, that was the first year that I actually really got involved in wanting to see a new sheriff. And when they asked me, why are you going to vote for this person? I said, well, basically my thing is, and I'm right with Steve on this one. I mean, I think the police officers have by far the toughest job. There is. But, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in their situation. But at the same time, it just seems like there's a lot of officer-related shootings. And, the public says, well, how come you couldn't just shoot him in the leg or, just general questions like that. And I haven't seen that change. I've lived in Vegas since '86. And Metro has always been seen by just the general public that I talk to as like, we shoot first, ask questions later. As sheriff, is there any way that you think you could change that mentality?
Well, you know what? I don't really believe that is our mentality, to be honest with you. I think that, there are some areas where we could improve and do more simulator training and do more firearms qualifications. But I think, and in scenarios and decision-making. But, I think overall we have a lot of amazingly great officers on our agency. And, unfortunately, we all know that being when we sign up to be a police officer that, we may get to a position or in a situation where we have to use deadly force. And it's not something that we want to do, but we have to. But I think that there's a lot more training that we could do within the department. And I think, leadership is also a huge part of that. Having effective leaderships, because running the police department, I'll tell you right now, is not a one-person or a one-man job. It literally takes a whole group of command staff that are in tune, who are good leaders, who listen to the troops and lead and motivate them.
Lori, who could arrest the sheriff?
According to the NRS that I read, it was the Clark County coroner, the district attorney, and the attorney general.
do you see anything wrong with that? Do you think that any other people, if the sheriff broke a law, that Metro could cuff the sheriff and arrest him?
Absolutely. You know what? We're held to a higher standard than just regular citizens. And if somebody in a law enforcement capacity breaks a law, then I think that a law enforcement officer, regardless of what agency they work for or what their title or position are, they should be able to enforce a law. And if it means arresting the sheriff, then so be it.
I know a couple years ago it was the North Las Vegas police chief was arrested for DUI, and I believe the highway patrol arrested him. But if the only three people that could arrest a sheriff, how are they going to correspond? I mean, how they going to talk to each other and actually they get him arrested if he or she does something wrong?
You know what? That's an amazing, great question. It's a little bit, makes you scratch your head, and it's certainly not an NRS that I agree with. I think if you break the law, you should be held accountable, regardless. Especially when you're talking about three candidates that are all establishment candidates. I mean, the Attorney General, the District Attorney, and the Sheriff all come right out of the same, mold.
If you become sheriff, are you willing to change the NRS?
Absolutely.
And what are you going to do different than the incumbent has not been doing?
Well, I think, just running a more professionally run organization, implementing a rock-solid leadership team, and being transparent and accountability. Accountability really is the answer.
How has the incumbent not been accountable?
Well, he's not very accessible to the media, unless you're Heidi Harris. I mean, he's on her show on a regular basis. But being out there, I don't think that he's as comfortable and as open with the media as he should be. And I hear these concerns from the media. And a lot of them ask me, if you were elected sheriff, can you please have a more open and transparent PIO's office?
Why do you think he's more accessible to Heidi Harris? Don't know, or just...
Don't know.
Yeah. Well, he went to the Board of County Commission and got that tax increase, correct?
That would have been Bill Young.
Was it Bill Young? I thought it was...
Are you talking about the 1/4% sales tax to hire more officers?
That's the one.
That would have been Bill Young.
Okay. And is that money working? Or is the taxpayers' dollars working? Are they doing exactly what they said they were going to do with that money?
Well, I'm highly critical of the More Cops initiative. Do we need more police officers? Absolutely. Did we need to rush 600 police officers through in a short period of time? No. I think that we sacrificed quality for quantity, not only in the hiring process, but also in the training process. And I think that we're feeling the effects of that now.
Do you think that led to some of, like what Steve and I were talking about, some of the more officer-related shootings? You'd have to take each shooting on a case-by-case basis, and, it just varies. It really does.
Yeah. I got a question. Do you think that they lack senior officers on the street, or do you think that they lack verbal communication with the public?
I think we lack senior officers. There's no incentive for a tenured senior officer to stay in patrol and to train these new guys, and that's exactly what we need. Right now, as it is, the minute you get into a position where you can go out and test for the Detective Bureau, boom, they're gone. Has there
been any woman sheriff in Clark County?
No, there has not.
So you would be the first?
The first.
What would you tell the voters to do? Why would the voters go to the voting booth and vote for you?
Well, because I am a sheriff that represents the people. I am out there in the trenches, and I truly understand what this community needs to be able to turn it around. We have some really big problems when it comes to crime in Clark County. We're the 7th most dangerous metropolitan area in the country. That's not acceptable. The sheriff gives out false crime statistics on his commercials that are simply absolutely not true, and he throws out a false sense of security, which really bothers me. When you do that in order to win an election or to make the community feel that you're doing a good job. And you know what? He's an establishment guy. He's bought and paid for by the political establishment in Clark County, and I'm the sheriff for the people.
Could you give the listeners your point of contact?
My point of contact is my website is BISH BISCH for sheriff. That's FOR sheriff 1R 2Fs.com, and my cell phone number is 702-769-3232. And if you call it, I'll answer it.
Well, Laurie, thank you for coming. You know something? I want to get you on the AIM program as well. So probably closer to the election, I'll have you come on again and hopefully we'll get your incumbent to come on with you, and maybe you could have a little debate.
That would be amazing. Thank you. I would love it.
Thank you so much, Lori. That's Lori Bish, who is the candidate for Clark County Sheriff. And this is Steve Sanson with Jim Jonas with Veterans in Politics. Until next week.
Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American.